First of all, just very proud of the way our guys handled the bye week and the prep needed to win this game and to come out and play strong early and not get affected by the weather and push through that and really thrive in those situations early in the game. Just really proud of the way they handle a lot of adversity today.
Jim, I think you mentioned early in the week trying to get them to snap back in quickly. Do you think that was an important factor in getting a jump on Maryland today?
I do. I mean, you have to handle the bye week the right way to get all the benefits. You know, the physical side is one thing, getting more healthy, but if you come out flat, sometimes you negate the benefits there. So I think our players did a great job of, handling the week. You know, the prep that we gave them last week, getting ahead of it, taking care of their bodies, and I think we saw the results of both. You know, started out strong. You see guys like Hunter, Nick Herbig, Isaac Garendo, those players, Braylon, a number of guys that were banged up, the offensive line kind of mixing the rotation again. So we took advantage of the week in a lot of ways, and to get the results is always huge.
Jim, obviously weather was a factor there, especially stopping the passing game for Maryland, but overall your secondary seemed like they were sticking with the receivers and pressure was getting Talia, excuse me. What was the biggest factor in your mind besides the weather, stopping that passing game?
I think number one is containing the quarterback. You saw late in the last drive how dynamic he can be when he gets out of the pocket, and thought we did a really good job early in the game of getting him on the ground, forcing him into the boundary, getting him to throw the ball away. Because what happened late in the game is normally what he's doing for 4 quarters. So we did a great job of containing him and forcing him to make throws and make some tough decisions. You had to stop the run first today. You had to control the line of scrimmage and affect the quarterback in the pocket, and we were able to get that done.
Jim, it felt like there were multiple safeties, multiple linebackers making plays throughout the game. Was this what you guys envisioned in terms of the depth of the defense, of what you guys could do coming into the year?
Absolutely. You lose a guy like Hunter Wohler and the versatility he has. We're able to put him in a lot of different positions today. We're really playing some of our outside backer role to the field in certain packages. So just continuing to learn our players, right? What they can handle from adjustments, different packages, what fits their skill set, and we were able to get a big piece back. And it's always fun to see them making plays and watching their teammates respond. They know how hard he's worked to get back and how frustrated he was having to sit out as many weeks as he did. So it's a lot of fun when you see those guys reap the rewards of all the hard work.
Jim, Isaac Randall's been through a lot during his career here. Do you get a sense of satisfaction seeing him do what he did today?
Absolutely. Adversity is a huge part of the game, unfortunately, and to see a guy who struggled through it, and he's had his ups, he's had his downs, and in a number of ways felt like every time he was going to break through, something happened. To see him have the day he did today, just awesome. And had a great view of him going down the sideline. Glad they kept that one in bounds. But just to see guys push through any adversity that comes up and get some rewards out of it, that's huge for those players and building confidence going forward.
Jim, hate to talk about just one series in a game, but it was a field position game early. Maryland got that short field after the punt, and your defense, I think, got a 4-and-out, if I remember correctly. How do you measure how important that was early in the game on the day when you knew the conditions were not going to be conducive to a lot of offense?
Yeah, field position is everything early in the game. They did a great job of flipping it the first series. We get a stop and they kind of flipped it, but you're going to be fighting those tough decisions on going for it on 4th down, kicking field goals, punts. The tighter that game is, the harder those decisions get to be. And you saw both teams going for it on 4th down. Every field goal makes you a little bit nervous. But it was fun to watch our guys make some big plays and eliminate some of the tough decisions and obviously getting ahead. I thought the kick to get us up 17 was huge, right, to get that 3-score game. And after that, you weighed a lot of factors, right? Is 7 bigger? The 20 points wasn't that big to me. If we could get a 1st down and keep the clock rolling or get a touchdown and go up big. There was some tough decisions there, and it was awesome to see Nate go in there and make some big kicks today in some really brutal weather.
Jim, going back to Hunter, what do you tell him or any player that's come back from injury, but maybe Hunter specifically, just emotions, dealing with that and trying to work, seeing game actions, or anything you said to him during the week?
He's so steady, from the mental side, his preparation when he was out, his emotions, like he's just one of those guys who goes about his business every day. So some guys you really get concerned on the emotions, right? And they've been out and they try to press and do a little bit too much, but never felt like I had to even bring it up with him just because of his approach. And that's rare out of a young guy to see that maturity and to see him go in there. It's just fun to see the look in his eyes. He's physical, he plays fast, he's aggressive, and he tracks the ball well. So he has such a huge skill set that's going to be a lot of fun here the last couple of weeks to just find ways to make him more and more dynamic in this defense.
Jesse.
Jim, Wisconsin's offense this season has passed for more yards than it has rushing yards, but this was a game where you needed the ground game to come up big, and it did. Why do you think the group was so effective today? What did that show you about what's possible with the rushing attack?
Well, I think, this is probably the healthiest that group's been in a long time. And the combination of guys we had, we felt like it was the five that was playing the best at the time and healthiest. And thought you add the tight end group to that as well, that's been banged up. You get Rucci back and you're able to do just more things up front, and they played with a lot of confidence. I think Maryland does some things similar to us, so I think there's a lot of carryover, a lot of confidence, when it looks like what you see on a daily basis. So just fun to watch the aggression those guys played with up front. The backs just pounding it in there. Not always going to be pretty, right? You're going to run into some heavy boxes, but just everyone just grinding it out, and then getting the ball on the perimeter, making some big ones, right? Really making them pay with some long runs. You have to do that. You have to flip the field and put them on their heels a little bit.
Steve.
Our perspective skewed a little bit from being inside in the press box, but each team had 77 yards passing, just with the conditions the way they were today. Just how difficult was it? You can give us an insight to throw the ball for anybody.
Yeah, if you were going to try to throw it much over 10 yards, the ball was going to get affected in a pretty big way. And we saw that a couple of ones we took vertical. They didn't throw many down the field, so it just kind of shows you the respect they had for the conditions. There was a really pretty good stretch early, and then late got really bad because then all of a sudden it felt like it dropped about 20 degrees. So there was only one kind of window in the game where you felt like both teams in the passing game had an opportunity to be a little bit more aggressive. But outside of that, it was a huge factor in how you had to call the game.
Jim, you mentioned Van Zelf's, the job he did today. He hasn't had a lot of attempts, but do you guys know what you had in him? Because he's been pretty consistent when called upon.
Yeah, he really has been consistent kicking the ball in competitive situations in practice the majority of the year. So just kind of learning what his range is, where he likes the ball, putting him in some tough situations in practice just to see how he responds. But he's been solid, and even though the numbers haven't been there as far as the amount of kicks, haven't felt like we've needed to protect him, and that's a credit to him because he's shown the consistency. And then we know we got Lam, who's got a huge leg if we need a long one. Really hasn't been put in that situation yet, but we know we have the ability to do it if the situation comes up.
Jim, you mentioned how important stopping the run was. Can you quantify how impactful a guy like Keanu Benton is when he's as healthy as he appeared to be today, especially early on? It seemed like he was just dominating those big gaps.
Well, a guy like Keanu changes the math inside. He can dominate his matchups consistently, and he forces teams to put a lot of attention on him, which helps your linebackers run. And if you can keep your linebackers clean with guys like that up front, you're going to have a lot of success. They're not going to bust many explosive runs. So having him in the middle is really priceless. And like I said, we were beat up with that group for a number of weeks as well. So we just played a little bit more physical. We were able to get to some rotations late, but we just saw a little bit more of a fresh group, and just loved the approach that they had and made some plays.
Jim, you had a lot of three safety looks today. How impactful was that in that specific look? And also, kind of with Hunter not playing for a while, did you think that there was anything off at all between them three playing in cohesion with each other? And do you think that's going to be an integral part of your defense going forward?
Well, first of all, we thought we could get to a specific package based on their personnel, and be able to hold up in the run game and have a little bit better chance in the pass game. And obviously, you eliminated some of the issues in the pass game, but from a run standpoint, to be able to play small ball a little bit and stop the run effectively was huge for us today. And Hunter's so locked in with those guys and the work that he puts in. I didn't really feel like there was any lack of communication or just rust with different combinations of players on the field. So, like I said, I think it's going to be a big thing going forward, just finding ways to be versatile and kind of do some stuff that team's not practicing.
Jim, a few weeks ago you mentioned the guys were 3 for 3 in terms of effort going into the bye week. I guess we're just curious how you thought they came up this week and just their continued response to you as the head coach.
They're playing hard. It's clear. It's easy to see. I think how hard they're playing. Still have to eliminate some dumb mistakes that we're making with penalties and mental errors, but that's football. We're going to push. It's really just attack the last 3 weeks here of the regular season. And I've liked the approach. These guys are holding each other accountable. They're putting in the work day in and day out. That's going to give them a chance to win on Saturdays. And that's, as a coach, all you can ask. And then as it gets closer to game day, just pick those emotions up and bring the passion to it. So I love the way they've responded over the last month or so, and looking forward for more going forward.
We have time for 2 more. Mike, back.
Jim, Nick obviously had 2 more sacks today. He's got 8 on the year. Where have you seen him add or improve, take another step this year as a pass rusher?
Just adding more tools. I think he's feeling things within the flow of the game faster, and that's huge for a pass rusher. We're not a team that he's just going to rush the passer over and over and over. So when you see a guy get hot, it's up to me to put him in positions to rush. He has to learn very quickly within a game kind of how he wants to attack and what problems, which goes into his prep. He studies as much as anybody on our team. So it's really fun to see the confidence he plays with, and you feel him on the sideline, and he's got a certain look in his eyes. You got to let him go at times, and anytime you get a player playing with that confidence, you got a chance to do some good things on defense.
Jim, early in the year, you mentioned it, and a couple of players did too, that the team wasn't handling momentum swings as well as it needed to. Do you think the team overall has made strides in that particular area?
I do. I think that becomes a comfort level sometimes when you change some big pieces and you're looking at new faces. Sometimes they're good and you don't know it. You start trying to do too much, or as a play caller, like what settles a team down, it's the experience that I've gained over the year. It helps a ton. And then there's the ownership side of playing better, right? Not panicking, staying calm, and being able to communicate when you're on your heels a little bit. So I think there's a lot of factors that go into it, but you're seeing it on all sides of the ball. The comfort level, I think sometimes they know what's coming, right? They know what to expect after you give up a big play or you give up a negative play on offense, right? Like, what's going to calm us down? I think as a coordinator, with me, with Bobby, like, you're learning throughout the whole course of the year how your players are going to respond, so you should get better as the season goes on.
Thanks, Kirk.